All right, Stuart, what's up, man? It's been a couple weeks, actually. I've been missing you. What's been going on?
Oh, that's so nice. I've been keeping myself busy, but I've been missing doing these shows with you. We're really getting a rhythm doing it, and I've missed you too.
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed the break, but I also missed talking to you and also doing this as well. Now we've got for the next 4 or 5, maybe even 6 weeks, we got different people coming up, so we're gonna start cranking out again. But it's always going to be like summertime with one of us, right? Because I'm in summer, you're in fall, and then when you're in summer, I'm going to be in winter. But we have to take breaks from time to time because, it's just what you got to do, and we also don't get paid to do this. Not that we even want to, but we volunteered to do this because we like it. It's our passion, but we need some time to deal with our lives too.
Yeah, well, I listened to one of our previous shows during the break, and I got to tell you, Mike, I felt really proud listening to it. I'm really happy with what we're doing here.
Yeah, likewise. I've gone back and listened to a couple of them as well, and I'm proud of it as well. But anyway, Stuart, welcome back. Here we go again, and welcome one and all, wherever and whenever you may be. This is Universal Disclosure Meeting Moment. My name is Mike, an active UAP field investigator, and Stuart, I'm going to say a little bit different this time as well. I can also now say the field investigator of the year for 2025 with my friend and co-host
Reverend Stu in Melbourne, Australia.
So yeah, I was just at the MUFON Symposium, which is primarily what we're going to be talking about here to recap all of that.
Mike, congratulations on that. That's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know about it. I wasn't expecting it. It was a surprise when it happened. But it was a pretty cool thing, I got to say.
Okay, now you told me about this symposium thing, and I realized I didn't even know what the definition of that word was. So I looked it up, and I want to read it to you now because I've got some questions now.
Okay.
Definition 1 says a conference or meeting to discuss a particular subject.
That's exactly what it was. Yep.
Well, I'm comfortable with that one.
Okay.
I've got questions about this second definition. Definition number 2, a drinking party or convivial discussion, especially as held in ancient Greece after a banquet, and notably as a title of a work by Plato. Now, which one is it here?
Well, that's I didn't know about definition number 2, but it was a nice mixture actually of 1 and 2. It was a conference jam-packed with information during the day, and then in the evening in the lobby of the hotel they have a nice bar, and the speakers and all the attendees were just kind of mingling about, and the what do you call, the nectars were flowing, you could say. The spirits abound, and the wine was flowing too. Good
spirits stuff. I like that reference. Well, many props to whoever came up with that name. It sounds absolutely appropriate.
It definitely was. I mean, it was much more conference and great information, but of course you got to unwind a little bit at nighttime too. So yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Okay, well, I've got the definition now, but what actually happens there? Like, is it like an annual general meeting? Is it national? Is it international? Can you tell me what happens there?
It's an annual international meeting is really what it is. It's open to the public. So we do get a lot of MUFON investigators and state directors and the ERT folks coming out to attend. We also get some speakers, really prominent speakers, which we'll get into in a moment. And it's just jam-packed from morning until night, and it's like everybody's in the same room, which I do like. So you don't ever have to worry about like there's 2 people speaking at once and you want to hear them both. What do you do? Everybody gets to hear everybody who's speaking. So they'll talk for like an hour and a half. I forget which it was. And then there's a little break, so you can go use the lavatory or refresh your coffee or whatever it was that you wanted to do. And then the next person comes up. So it would be kind of like if you were to wake up one morning and listen to like 7 or 8 of our different conversations back to back. It's just that jam-packed with information.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Okay, now I feel even more proud of you. So this MUFON Investigator of the Year is an international thing. That's amazing.
I guess you could say that. I mean, it doesn't officially say one way or the other, but it's an international organization. There's like 700 plus people around the world who do it. And by the way, of course, I always have to say this is independent channel, independent podcast of MUFON. I'm not speaking on behalf of them, but if you are anywhere in the world and you see something, or if you experience something, do report it to MUFON. You can report it at our local site here, socalmufon.com, SOCAL MUFON.com. You can see all the team members that I work with, as well as it'll if you're not in our area, it directs you to the main MUFON site, where you can file a sighting report or an abduction or ET encounter report, as it were. There's more places coming online now where people can make reports, which is fine. Nothing against that. Nothing wrong with that. Perhaps there should be some more, right? But here's the thing. We're one of the few who will actually reach back out to you and talk to you and interview you about your sighting or your experience. And especially with the experiencer part of things, you need to have somebody to talk to help you work through that. And that's one of the main things that MUFON does, aside from the investigation side of things. So, it's one thing to, let's say somebody's got a fancy website with all kinds of bells and whistles. You report something, but no one's ever going to contact you. Well, what's the point of that, right?
Right.
People do get and need closure, whether it is a sighting or an experience. I mean, I'm not trying to, say one is less than the other. They do appreciate the closure that you get from when one of our folks talk with you. So anyway, I should probably start saying that during every conversation, like if you see it or whatnot, report it. So you can be contacted.
That's a really great idea. I imagine there's a MUFON contingent here in Melbourne, Australia, and if there is, Mike, I wouldn't mind if you could maybe help me arrange a meeting with them.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if there's anybody in Melbourne specifically. I know that there's Australian investigators. I met two of them, I believe it was. I think it was 2 years ago at Contact in the Desert. Two young ladies came up to me and introduced themselves as investigators from Australia, which I thought was great. I don't remember if they were, how close they are to you, but I'll look that up and see, and I'll connect you for sure. That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, very. So were you saying there it might be worth us adding that to the end of our show about feel free to contact MUFON? If that's what you mean, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning and the end, both the beginning and the end, I'm not sure. Like, I've been very cautious to not mix my worlds ever since we started this, because I don't want people to get confused, right? We're exploring what we like personally. We're talking with people who, have had various things happen, or prominent researchers, etc. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea. But at the same time, MUFON does offer us, everyone who does it, the freedom, as it were, to do other things as well. As there's maybe one or two different conflict of interest things that you're not allowed to do. But what we're doing here is totally fine. As provided I keep putting out those disclaimers. This is independent. We're not speaking on their behalf, kind of deal. But also, I don't believe that we're really pushing any type of belief or narrative, but rather we're exploring how the belief systems and such are affected by this thing that's actually for real happening all around the damn world.
Yeah, I think this is interesting because you're actually seeing my real explorative journey here. I'm interested in these topics for real. The questions I ask are genuine. I very rarely pre-write them out, just ask them in the moment. So I guess it's the same for you too, Mike. Like, we're both learning on this journey, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. I mean, you and I, well, typically, at least for me, I'll jot down questions in advance most of the time. Sometimes we'll give them to the guests, and sometimes we won't. It really depends on the situation. But also, I think, in a way, maybe it was because of, neither of us have ever done what we're doing right now. So maybe that was more for my whatever, to build structure before we actually have a conversation with somebody, just to make sure we've got somewhere to go or somewhere to take it. But I feel like we're getting even more organic than we were originally, which I love. And I'm definitely at the point where there's times where I'm making new connections or learning new things, and it's getting, captured on the record in real time. It's like it's not an actor here. This is like the real deal. But I think it's cool that we are talking the way we are, and we're broadcasting it to the world for anyone who wants to listen. There was, it was kind of interesting at one of the, what do you call those, banquet lunch, it was buffet lunches I was sitting with a couple of guys that I had met with in the past, and I don't really know them a lot, but I know them enough to be like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" Type deal. And then somebody else joined up with the table, and we were. I was talking with the two guys, and this other gentleman had joined up, and I don't know if he had somewhere to go or if it was where the conversation went, but he sort of, in a way, he abruptly got up. But before he got up, he said, "Thanks for letting me." Share in your conversation,
Wow.
and he's most likely talking about that conversation at that table. But then I was wondering, is like, well, maybe he's talking about this channel. Like, I don't know. I've mentioned this before. There's been some weird comments or things that have happened that I'm wondering, like, are you all like referencing this channel? And if you are, please do it directly. Drop the UDP call sign or something so that I know, because there's been some weird, not weird, but just comments that make me think, like, okay, you've probably checked out some of these conversations, and then I'm wondering, like, why aren't you saying that or whatever? But then it's just like, well, for the most part, with one exception of one episode, I never said my full name anywhere. so maybe they're just trying to be respectful of that, which I kind of appreciate. But I legitimately do welcome conversations or comments from anyone. Feel like I went off on a way tangent there, but
No, I like that a lot, because the next thing I was going to ask you was, is this same energy prevalent at the MUFON Symposium? And the energy I'm talking about is free-flowing exploration. Are people really genuinely discovering for themselves? Are they coming to push certain narratives? What's the energy like there?
okay, yeah. So there's a free flowing energy there for sure. It's a mixture. It's an interesting mixture, actually. And now I'm going to be just from my investigatory observations, right? I'm the guy in the back of the room just watching everybody, because that's kind of what I do wherever I go. But there's it's probably like 50-50 of people who are there to listen and absorb, and people who are there to interact or share with others. And I have to work on this, because there's a lot of missed opportunities, I think, that I had this past time, as well as contact in the desert. But in terms of like meeting people or saying something to people, like there's always something going on in my brain that I usually don't verbalize. But when I go to a place like that, like the symposium and everything, I'm really there more to listen than I am to talk, because you just never know what you're going to hear, and people have a lot to say. But anyway, there's no pushing of narratives. That's not what happens at all. But there was also a couple of what I'll just say relatively skeptical people who are there, which I thought was great too. The fact that you're going and opening yourself up to it and questioning it, good, you should. Like I said this a long time ago, perhaps in our first episode ever, or second one, when I was in school. I went to a all Catholic school. In high school, the professor, or whatever he was called, is like, gentlemen, and this is religion class, by the way, he's like, question everything, even what I'm telling you right now. And I was like, wow. So that's what was ingrained in me for my entire life. So I love it when people are there and they're questioning it. I think that's great.
I think that's so important. And that shows a genuine interest in the subject, where they're just trying to absorb and learn and share, but not steer. I reckon I'd
Yeah.
really enjoy going to one of these symposiums.
Yeah, I think that you would, for sure. Um, and the I forgot what I was just going to say. Um, but a genuine interest. Okay, so the conversations get wild. Okay,
Wow.
especially when you're getting into the experiencer stuff, and that's where a little bit more you get the, not want to say resistance, but the skepticism. And I get it. It's difficult to grasp some of these stories that you hear, but nonetheless, it was
Okay.
a cool thing.
All right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I almost forgot to ask you something. So, on our show here, I'd be 100% open to speaking to some of the researchers from MUFON who investigate that field, because I don't feel like I've spoken to any of them before. I want to ask them things like, now I'm going to tell you the kind of questions I would ask, so you can give me an idea if this would be okay.
Sure.
I'd want to ask them about cases without naming names, and I'd want to explore their own journey. I don't know how open they are about that. And so I've got a two-part question there for you. Are these people, these MUFON researchers that talk about abductions and experiences, are they open about their own experiences? Would they be with us? And are they open with their experiences when they're investigating and interviewing someone?
Yes and yes. And in fact, I've already contacted a couple of them, and they will be here shortly to talk about and share some of those pretty interesting cases. So not all of them, I don't think, but a majority of them. And I'm new to the ERT team. So if you go back to our original one, I told you that I'm only nuts and bolts investigating, and I might join. Well, since then to now, I am now part of that group, and I'm very proud to be, because that was kind of my goal from the start, was to get involved with that one. But anyway, yeah, majority of them have had experiences themselves. They do openly talk about it, and as well as even when I'm investigating, I mean, I've got my own stories that I'm probably never going to publicly share for my own reasons, but I do open up with people when it's appropriate, when I'm investigating, and talking about various things. But yeah, yes, and yes is the answer to those questions.
I like that very much. Is that energy also at the MUFON Symposium where people are being very open and transparent? I mean, obviously the speakers are, because I presume, now I've never been to one, that's why I'm asking these questions. Well, I've never been to one of these symposiums. So if the speakers would be quite transparent because they're trying to explain what they've experienced, are the MUFON investigators that are present at the symposium also transparent? And are the members of the public, do they tend to open up, or do they just come in as observers?
So okay, so with the speaker aspect, there are some speakers who are also experiencers, and that takes more guts than I think anyone ever realizes, to be able to do that. Okay, but then there's other researchers and such who are presenting their work. Doesn't necessarily mean that they've had an experience or whatnot, but they've done. Like for example, Michael Shred. I don't know if he's had any experiences, but he's does an amazing job. Like he specializes in crash retrievals, and he uses AI with human artists to make renditions of the descriptions of the crashes and the crash retrievals, and this is likely what it looked like. And he goes so far as to say, if you're talking about the 40s, he'll, make something that looks like a Polaroid, and it looked like it would be from the era. And then something more modern will look like he goes way out of the. I mean, so props to him for doing that. But yeah, so I mean, everyone is pretty open. I mean, it's not like wild and crazy. Like everyone's just intermingling with everyone. You find your areas or whatnot, and the people you vibe with, and then you just chat and such.
Yeah, I do have a bit of a reference point because I went to a workshop with Mary Rodwell, which I think I mentioned when we
Sweet.
interviewed
Yeah.
her, and different people were speaking about their experiences, and it was the whole gamut, Mike. It went from one person saying, I'm an alien incarnated on this planet, ask me any questions you'd like," down to other people just sitting and watching and listening. So it was the whole spectrum.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's different workshops that they typically usually are really early in the morning, but they do have that kind of stuff too, where you can go into a room and just share your experience with others. And what you just said is pretty much kind of how that goes. But it's always interesting what you hear. The main symposium is more formal presentations by people who have research or cases to present, as it were. So it's a little bit of everything in that regard.
That sounds good. Does it go for 1 day or 2 days?
So it's well, technically 2.5, right? It starts Friday. It started Friday afternoon, and then it ended Sunday evening. So actually, Friday afternoon. I'll probably throw up some pictures too, just for the visual folks. Officially, it started Friday evening with the banquet and such, but we'll get to that in a second. It sort of officially started in the afternoon, where there was a workshop called The Experiencers, and that was the moderator was Dustin Eskelson, and he's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks to talk about some of this stuff. But he was there with Barbara Lamb.
Oh
who we
yeah.
interviewed once by herself and once with Mary Rodwell. So you can check out those conversations if you haven't already. Fascinating stuff. And then Debbie Jordan Cobble was there, who was the at the time, The Intruders came out by Bud Hopkins. She was anonymous, right? But that book was all about her. So she
Oh
was
wow.
there talking about that experience, and hers is one of the few. Like a lot of times when an experiencer has a wonderful story to tell, there isn't any physical evidence, but hers has physical evidence and some pretty amazing physical evidence, quite frankly. And I'm going to reach out to her too. I think we might be able to bring her in soon.
Oh wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. And it was also Doc, George Medich, who's the ERT, sort of like the head of ERT experience research team, was there. So it was like a panel, and Dustin had been the moderator, and he started off with try to get through this. A really nice tribute to Earl Grey Anderson, because that was supposed to be his event before he unexpectedly and suddenly passed a couple months ago. So it was really nice to see that, and not a dry eye in the house when he did that. He played a little snippet of Earl's story that he talked about with there's a channel called Breaking the Silence, where experiencers can go and tell their story. And that's kind of how it started out. So, I mean, it was really cool because it opened up with a tribute to my friend and mentor.
Wow, Mike, that's so beautiful. It shows me how close you were and what a beautiful, open-hearted soul he was and you are. And I had the honor of interviewing him with you on this show, and I was highly impressed. He was just so warm, so knowledgeable, so open. It was an absolute privilege to meet him just even that one time.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of guy that you met for like a minute or two. You felt like you knew him for your entire life.
Yeah.
He just opened his arms and heart to everyone. Hold on a second. I'm gonna hit. Sorry, I just had to, get composure there a little bit.
No, wow, this was
But
I can see now. Okay, I'll wait till you start recording again.
no, we're already recording again, man.
Okay, Mike, I can see how powerful this event was for you on multiple levels now. I'm starting to get the feeling and the impression. Thank you for sharing this with me. That was beautiful.
Yeah, so like I did an article for the SoCal MUFON website about this, and that was a bookend number one. That's how it started. So then Friday night we had a beautiful, delicious banquet, and then. Well, actually, before the banquet, they had like the little award ceremony, and I was not expecting anything at all, and was very, very honored to be named the Field Investigator of the Year for MUFON International. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I can't tell you how proud I am of you, Mike. And it's just an affirmation that you're on the right path and that you're doing an exceedingly good job. So proud of you.
I thank you, and I still, I said it in the article that I did too. Like, I don't know what I did, honestly. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I don't know. I don't think this generally has much to do with it. Maybe it does, but if it does, it's a small part. It was likely probably that alleged implant case that I was working that maybe lended to that, because could be a pretty tenacious mofo when something good lands in my lap, right? I'm going to take it as far as I can. But I don't really know, what, but I'll graciously accept and say thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what I think it might be, and I'm on the outside here, but it might be useful perspective. It's your open-hearted, sincere approach, and that comes through on this show too. So the only role the show might have played is just reinforcing that and other people being exposed to that.
Perhaps. Although I do think a lot of people don't really know that this channel exists. But then again, like I said, there's been some weirdness or oddities, like different comments made or whatever, that I'm wondering, like, if you're checking it out, please just make it obvious. Don't talk in code. I don't like that. Drop the call sign UDP, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. If you're referencing us, please do that.
Uh,
But
my perspective is a little different. Like I'm comfortable with people. Like my perspective is we're just all trying to share this journey together. And if we influence someone else or we're influenced by someone else, it's all good, Mike. It's like music, you know. Someone might be inspired by someone's performance or their style of music or even their song. That's an honor if someone emulates them. So I'm cool with that.
yeah, I guess what I mean is like there's, without going into too great of detail, and this is several weeks ago now, there was someone in my world that I encounter on a day-to-day basis outside of this topic who I called up on the phone one day, and I'll just say it, they're like, they answered by saying, we're live on the air, and I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking about? So if that's you and that sounds familiar, next time just say UDP or whatever, and I'll know that you know. But I can also understand that there might be situations where people don't want to openly say that they're following this channel or these conversations. But anyway, so I got to say, Thomas Jane, Hollywood actor, was the keynote speaker, and he did, as Citizen D would say, he did a bang up job of a presentation. He talked about, like, it was almost like from an alien perspective, like we're going on a tour, and he didn't use the name Planet Earth. He changed our planet's name to something else, it creates distance or whatever. Yeah. And he went, I mean, it was really great. Like, he just talked, his cadence was just amazing. He kept your attention every damn second, but he had so much information. He kept going and going and going and going and going. But at the end of the day, it was kind of just like, look at the people of Earth, and this is my own words, but they're pretty immature. They're self-destructive. They destroy the planet. They kill each other, and they pollute the planet, and that type of deal. But he did it in a very a really cool way about it. And one of the other people from MUFON in Alaska, her name is Shay. She's at the next day. I was like, so what did you think about it? She's like, oh, that was great. He was like a one-man play. And I was like, yeah, actually he was. And I stood up at the end, like half the room or more, gave him a standing ovation because it was an amazing,
Wow.
it was an amazing presentation. And that was a great way to start off the whole weekend, as it were.
Okay, now I got a question for you. Can I watch that? And are there links to some of the presentations?
Oh yeah, I believe, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say MUFON TV is most likely has the recordings, because it was all recorded. It was also live streamed, so I'm pretty sure you could watch the whole darn thing. So I'm not sure if you can get it as a one-off or if you have to sign up for MUFON TV first. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty confident that you can watch the whole darn thing there.
Okay, well, if there are any applicable links, do you mind putting them at the bottom of this video when we've done this?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will definitely go ahead and do that, because it's definitely worth. I mean, it was amazing thing. And then the next day was, it's jam packed. And forgive me if I'm repeating myself here, but it was kind of like as if you listen to multiple of our conversations in the same day. It was kind of like that, like all kinds of information. One of the other sort of standouts for me was Eduardo Russo from Italy. He's MUFON is an international organization, and he's the I hope I get this right, the national director of Italy. For MUFON, and he also belongs to other organizations. And his presentation was all about, like, ufologists, researchers, U.S. versus Europe. What's the same? What's different? And that was really eye-opening. I thought it was great, and I'm a proud American, right? But I think Europe is maybe a little ahead of us. So Americans, as I said in the article, put your ego in your pocket, first of all. It's not all about you as a person. It's about the topic. But check out what they're doing over in Europe, because they're doing some pretty cool stuff. Holy shit.
Wow,
I was really impressed.
That sounds interesting. Did he have a beautiful Italian accent?
He did, yeah. I mean, he started off by apologizing in his speech, but he spoke very well. He spoke very well. It was great, and we as Americans, we love all accents. We like Australian accents, Italian accents, you name it. We love the accents. A very well spoken man. It was good stuff there.
Oh wow! Look, seriously, all you're doing is making me want to watch all these presentations.
Well, hey, maybe we'll get a kickback for people. I should see if we can get a special link or something, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It does sound good. Sounds really good.
But yeah. So then I mean, if you got any questions, just toss them out. But then, like the sort of other bookend, as it were, was near the end on Sunday. There's a guy who's pretty sure he's local here. He spoke at one of our local meetings a while back, and his name's Greg Bishop, and he gave a very different kind of presentation, and I'm so happy that he did it. First of all, he started and ended his presentation with dedicating it to Earl, because I guess Earl was a big part of him speaking there. Right. And it's because, MUFON always will be a scientific organization, and its mission is the scientific study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity. What Greg had to say was not science-based, which is why he was so grateful to be able to be there and present. He was talking about art, which I mean, if you listen to nothing, you got to listen to that one, because you'll definitely resonate with that one, and how important art is. He was sort of saying to all of us, have the people draw out, especially who have experienced stuff, draw out what they've seen or whatnot, because when you make art, you can you convey information that you can't put into words.
Yeah.
And that was a really important thing that I really agree with. And he was also saying, like, you should ask people how they feel, how it made them feel. And I do remember at one point a while back, we were having like a local meeting at, like a barbecue type thing at CJ's house. And he was there. And I was like, yeah, everybody I talk to, I always say, like, how did it make you feel when you saw this thing? And he's like, that's a really good question. And, honestly, it was after I had seen him speak that I think I really started asking that. But another reason is because, and I said this in the article too, probably like 15 years ago now-ish, when I saw 3 fiery orange-red balls of plasma fly vertically over Dodger freaking Stadium and then ascend into the sky out into the atmosphere, I felt a sense of peace and calm on a cellular level in my entire body that lasted at least a week. And At that point in my life, I was dealing with anxieties and things like that. So that was very profound for that to happen. And I was just like, what in the hell did I just see? So because it affected me physically, and also hearing Greg talk about that stuff too. So I've always asked that question, and it's interesting. People aren't expecting that question, and depending on how they answer is a sign of either, this is legit, or maybe it's not legit. Maybe they're, embellishing or whatnot, or, I might likely be able to explain this or not. Now, it's not the end all be all, but it's definitely something. And his whole thing about that was that, if you throw that out because it's not measurable, you're throwing out half the data. And I agree with that. So anyone out there, if you're a researcher, if you're an investigator, whatever, take this to heart, please, and start taking that into consideration for when you're doing your things, because the perceptions from the human experience in the human body is just as important, if not more so, than like your wind speed or your azimuth or your no visible means of propulsion and such. So that was really cool.
I think that's good too, Mike. Like, if you ask me, how did you feel at a certain time or at an event, it takes me straight back there. I can't help it, and I start getting more clarity on what happened at that time. It's like the feeling draws me back to the event. So it's a smart question in that way, even like on a calibration level.
Yeah, exactly. Calibration level, it's good stuff. Well, I mean, I don't want to give away all the secrets, but that's something else that we do too, and I'll go into that in a second. But I still want to harp on this feeling thing because I think it's a big deal. I mean, it's interesting where, like, sometimes it depends on the case, right? But I say, how did you feel? Like, it's funny you say that. or like that's it's like, okay, now I record all the conversations, usually delete them because they're usually end up being nothing, right? But we have to go through that in order to find the gold, as it were. But anyway, it depends on how like sometimes it's like, oh, and if they say like, oh, that's a good question, or I hadn't thought of that one, it's like, well, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to know what I'm going to ask you. Like,
yes.
That's the point, right? So anyway, I don't want to give away everything, but there's more to that question than meets the eye. And if someone is not telling the truth or embellishing, I'm going to know that based on the answer and the way that they answer it too.
Oh, how fascinating.
Yeah.
Mike, you're always intriguing me with these little things you drop here and there, little threads, I want to pull on. I want to find out where they lead, but I guess it's all part of the technique.
Well, I mean, just to drop one more little thing is with the calibration aspect, because again, MUFON was it started in 1969, and like the FBI came in and other three-letter agencies were showing the public how to do the thing that they did. Okay, wow. So it's not like armchair people looking at a video and deciding in 30 seconds whether they think it's this is some serious stuff, and it takes time to do every single case. But that's one of the things I'll do as well is ask I'll take them onto Google Maps and place myself exactly where they were, and it's like find the exact direction that they were looking, and then I'll ask them a question that I already know the answer to test their memory and to test their depth perception and such. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. But I mean, just to give you some hints on, like, there's a lot to this stuff, folks. So I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you now. This brought up another thought for me. If I go to the symposium, I'm talking to a lot of people who are well trained in observation and these kind of interrogation techniques. They have a lot of knowledge. Like, these aren't just armchair people. These are people who really know what they're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not gonna. Yeah, there's some very interesting people who go there. And
there you go again, Mike.
I somehow end up, finding them or meeting them in some way or another. I don't know. It's weird how that happens, but I don't want to call them out. But they know who they are.
Oh wow. Okay, now my head's just full with a whole lot of questions to ask you. Better go next.
No, go. I mean, ask away. I feel like I've been talking way too much.
Oh, no, it's been fantastic. One thing I do want to understand is you said that members of the public can go to the symposium. Do they first have to become MUFON members, though?
No, I mean, anyone from the public can go to the MUFON Symposium. You don't have to be a member. Being a member is I think it's like $68 a year or something. I could be wrong, but it's not terribly crushing, right? And that helps with the all the expenses. Like we literally do have the largest, at least civilian database in the world. Although based on what Eduardo from Italy said, there's some stuff going on in Switzerland where they're kind of compiling all of the European data as well as some of the American data. So, but you know what? A great thing to have more than one location that has all the data, just in case of calamity, right? Because this is very important information to have. But nonetheless, I mean, ultimately, it's a nonprofit, and that's what the membership goes to help support.
Are the speakers generally in person, or do you have some by Zoom or etc.?
This year, everybody was in person. Last year, most everybody was in person. There was like 2 people, I think, last year who were via Zoom, but that was because of one reason or another, time constraints or traveling challenges or whatnot. But it's pretty much an all in-person event, which is also great. As cool as this is, that what we do here, there is definitely a difference when you're in the room. Even if someone's like on the stage and you're like 50, 100 feet back or whatever, you're still in the room. And you can still sort of feel them a little bit more than you do through the screen. And you have the opportunity, if you so desire, to go up and introduce yourself or ask them questions afterwards and such. So it's definitely it's a better, more profound or powerful experience when you do it in person. But that said, you could still sort of get that a little bit through the screen, especially if you weren't able to attend and you want to watch it after the fact.
You know what's interesting, might be interesting for the audience, is you and I have known each other for about a decade, but we've never actually met each other in person.
I think over a decade, but yeah, I know it. So okay, so continue. Yeah, we've never met.
I sometimes think about like one day we'll meet in person, exactly like you just described. Like we kind of know each other, but there's another layer. You get to know each other and feel each other's sort of energies and presence, which you can't feel over Zoom. And I know that because I did a job where I was exclusively online. And I formulated some ideas about some certain people that I was working with. When I met them in person, they were very different. I don't know if they were slightly misrepresenting themselves or not, but I don't know what it was. But it was a different impression I got with people in person than what I got exclusively online.
Interesting. And there's probably something to that. And I don't know. I mean, if anyone has checked out these conversations first and then saw me in person, they probably think I'm very different because I'm super quiet. This is my talking outlet. Like
Oh, wow. I'd be shocked.
You probably, well, I mean, if it were you, I would never shut the F up, right? Because we've got a lot to talk about. But I'm talking like, if I meet somebody that I don't know, I'm definitely not, chatty Cathy. I got to, build up to that kind of thing. But anyway, that's a good point too, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting too. So all these MUFON investigators are getting together. If you haven't met one before, are you less likely to speak to them?
Not necessarily, no. It's weird how like there was a handful of folks who came up and introduced themselves to me, and I'm glad they did. But I didn't know who they were, but they introduced themselves because other people whom I've had contacts with or whatever or work with said, "Oh my God, you got to go, meet him or whatever." So it was kind of cool, and I'm glad they did. There was, I don't know. Kind of want to tell you something. I'm not sure. I think I might hit the pause button. I don't know. Okay, so there was this one woman who introduced herself to me. Like I was walking back from the bathroom, going back to my table to watch the next speaker who was gonna start, and we're just like two ships passing in the night in the hall, and rather than say like hi or address me with a name or whatever, she looks at me and she says, "I've been meaning to ask you," and I was like, "Oh. Okay, what are you meaning to ask me? Like, you kind of look familiar. I don't remember if we met or not. Can't really place it." And she asked me about like hot spots in California because like I investigate here. Ah. And as she did that, like she was asking me, my eyes went down to see her lanyard to see what her name was. Yeah. The moment my eyes started to go down, she took her pointer finger and put it exactly in the place to cover her name while looking at me directly in the eye. And I thought to myself, how in the hell did you know exactly where to place your finger to cover your name? And then when my eyes went back up to her eyes, she moved her finger away. And I was like, what the hell? That was pretty wild to me. So
yeah. And why would she want to cover or conceal her name anyway?
I don't know. And that was the kind of weird part about it. And then I'm thinking like, what was that all about? And now that I think about it, I should have and would have said, like, "I'm sorry, what is your name?" or before answering the question. But when she did it, it was just all so nonchalant. And even though I thought it was weird, I didn't think much of it. And then I just answered her question. But because she did that, I didn't give her the full answer. Because like she was like, concealing something. So I was like, yeah, I'll answer your question a little bit, but I'm not going to answer it fully. So I don't know. Should that stay in or come out?
I think that's actually really interesting. So she was withholding something in a way and partly concealing something, either intentionally or subconsciously.
Oh, it was intentional. It was not subconscious. It was intentional to be able to put your finger directly over and without even looking. Like how do you know? And it was it was bizarre.
I think that's weird. I would have thought that was strange.
That was strange. I'm assuming that she was a legitimate human. She looked legitimately human. But afterwards, I was just like, who did I just talk to?
Wow, that is interesting. That would have intrigued me. Especially the way the conversation just immediately started with, "I've been meaning to ask you," like it was a continuation of something that was already going on.
Yeah, that was the other part. Oh, this is like,
Hang on, Mike. I've got an idea what this might be. I think I know what was occurring there.
what do you mean? You think what do you think was occurring there?
You might want to hit the pause button before I tell you.
Dang. Okay, that you might be onto something there. That's pretty interesting. We're going to keep that part to ourselves, but that might explain that. Dang.
Yeah, yeah. I won't get into it any further. And if you cut that bit out, Mike, I wasn't saying anything like the person was an extraterrestrial. It's something else.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's pretty interesting. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, okay. I'm still comfortable with that. I mean, I'm sort of already out there as a singer. I'm not a well-known singer, Mike, but the people in Melbourne sort of know who I am in certain genres and things. And I get people coming up to me at gigs saying, "Hey, hi, Stuart, great to see you again." I've never seen them before, but they've seen me.
That's cool. I think it's different though because there's still that stigma. If it's musical, then like yeah, cool, thanks, man. But when it's a little bit different when it's about this topic, right? Because we both
I guess so.
we're both in professional services, so we gotta tread that fine line, as it were.
Yeah, okay. We're doing successfully so far, I think, but there might be a shift in the future. Well, if there's a disclosure on the main on the macro, then the micro disclosure might be about who we are. But I'm not secretive about that, Mike. But I just don't come straight out and say it at every episode, I suppose, because no real need to.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said right from the start, this isn't about us. We don't call it the Mike and Stu show. It's about the topic. It's about growing as a person, as an individual. It's about inspiring others, which is also why I've given a little bit of my professional background out there to inspire people from the professional world. Like it's okay to talk about this stuff, folks. It really is.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Um,
Okay, do you have anything else that you'd like to add on this topic of the symposium?
I think we've pretty much covered it all. It was great. I'm glad I went. Proud to be part of the team, and I'm impressed with everyone who is a part of the team as well.
That's fantastic. I really value what MUFON does. And I was serious about what I said before, Mike. If there's someone here in Melbourne, I'd definitely like to speak to that person or those people.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't hear from me in like 24 hours, remind me because it might slip my mind with everything else that's going on, as it were. But I'll definitely look and hook you up with anyone who might be in the area.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And Stuart, I want to do a quick sidebar with you here too, because no, we don't typically do this kind of thing, but this is a special exception, and I think you'll understand as I go along. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking once again with Tony Ghazi, who's going to be channeling the Mantis Beings for us. And I have already, without even telling him what they are, I have some questions I truly believe no ufologist in the world is asking, and I'm going to present those to the Mantis. So I'm looking forward to that. But I also wanted to open it up to everyone listening out there. If you have questions that you want to ask the Mantis, and I know it sounds wild, right? And maybe it's them, maybe it's not, whatever. But let's just see what happens. If you have a question or two max, send it to us privately, Universal Disclosure Podcast at proton.me. And as long as you do that before, I believe it's going to be August 15th is going to be the deadline. End of day, August 15th. Get those questions to us by then, and we will present them to the Mantis and see what the Mantis has to say.
That's fantastic. I love that gentleman's energy. Can't wait to speak to Tony again. And regardless of whether it's the Mantis or whoever it is coming through, the messages are just so beautiful.
They certainly are. So that's going to be great stuff. But in any event, let's get back to our regular conversation here. So with that, we do have, like I said before, I think we've got like the next 5-6 weeks all booked up with some really cool, exciting people to talk with. So we're going to start cranking those out again. And we appreciate your participation. Just by listening, you are participating here. But if you want to go a step further, drop us a comment and a like, share these conversations. We do appreciate all that as well. Helps the algorithmics and the robots, reach other people who should hear these conversations, as it were. But this is a great ride, and you never know where it's going to go.
Well, I'm liking the stop so far, and I want to continue on this journey. And as always, much love to everyone.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you real soon.